everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap To Rome for Love Season 1 Episode 7, which was titled Can Everyone Be Saved? So guys, you know we have one more episode and then the season is over. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the show and if you hope that Andy brings it back, because I really loved Invite Cabo, but don't look like Invite Cabo coming back anytime soon. And it looks like in a couple of weeks they have a new series that is about to start, and it had, I thought that was genuine in the show, and it was something about marriage or your husband's cheating on you, and people were in the comments saying that, you know, they're angry that Bravo keeps bringing these new shows out, and now that they have Married to Medicine relegated to Friday nights, but Married to Medicine is about to end also. But I hope they bring them back on Sunday nights, because that whole Friday night thing just ain't working for me. So let's go ahead and get into the recap. So we pick up where we left off last week, where Mercedes was, you know, about to open up to the ladies about why she's so vested into her spirituality and her religious beliefs. So she lets them know that her father was incarcerated until 3 years before he died. And when he got out of jail, I guess he came home and he was sick, and, you know, she helped take care of him, and, you know, once again pointed out that he had just died 4 months before the taping of the show. And so she says that, you know, because of all that they experienced, all the loss that they had, you know, at the hands of the father going to jail, and I'm still trying to figure out what Daddy went to jail for, because, like, and then how long was he in jail, you know, if he was making, well, I guess he must have went to jail if he got out 3 years ago, and he looked like he was an older man, or maybe jail aged him a lot. I don't know. I need to find out Mercedes' dad's name so I can be nosy and go on the Florida Department of Law Enforcement website and find out why he was in jail. So anyway, she says that she can't compromise on the Jesus thing, because at her lowest, Jesus was the only man she had, and he got her through, you know, all the hurt and disappointment. And so she says that she doesn't know if her dad gave his life before he died, and all she could think about was, you know, she was loving on him and caring for him and praying for him and talking to him about God, and to think that that wasn't good enough and that he never accepted Christ in his life is just like a burden that's weighing her down. And so she says that she's afraid to be vulnerable, that she could give so much of herself to somebody, and I guess from a discipleship point, it not be good enough to get them into heaven. But she needs to understand that you can't get people into heaven. The only person, like, if there is a heaven and there is a hell, which the older I get, you know, I'm kind of doubting that concept, but whatever a person's relationship is with God or with their higher power, only they can work that relation out between them and God. Like, you can preach to somebody all day long. Like, I worked at a church, and I can tell you some folks sitting up in the church every single Sunday who are only there because that's what they've always done. And their belief in God, their faith in God is no more stronger, no more powerful than the person that's out there on the street corner who's never stepped foot in a church but knows that God is real and believes in God. So she really needs to get this thing out of her head that she has the power to save people and to deliver people unto God, because that is just a total misconception. So Diane lets her know that, you know, she understands the hurt of a father passing. And you guys know, if you watch my videos, that how I was destroyed when my dad died. So Diane says that, you know, her dad died in July of 2016. And so, she feels the hurt, and, they go around the table and all the women are crying, and it was just an emotional moment, and I just love when Black women are just, being open and vulnerable to other Black women about, their experiences, without all the cat fighting and carrying on. So she asks Mercedes, what she expects to get out of being in Rome, because she has to let her guard down if this is going to work for her. And then Mercedes claimed that she was ready to listen, but then we found out later in the show that was not to be the case. Then we have a scene with Kwame, Mercedes, and Nikita, and they go out for a gelato. And so the three are talking, and Mercedes says that she prays for Kwame all the time. And I'm just like, girl, did you not just say you was going to stop this foolishness? But she just can't help herself. So then Nikita says, I think Kwame said he didn't need her to pray for him, or he was happy she was praying for him. And so then Nikita says that, if not, you'll be in hell with Michael Jackson. So, Nikita and Kwame, they're laughing about it, but Mercedes wasn't feeling the love in that moment. And she was like in her confessional that she doesn't appreciate Kwame making light of the seriousness of salvation, and that she just don't know where this whole situation gonna go with him. So they head back to the house, and it was like so much for the vulnerable part, because her and Kwame were on the couch, and they were cuddling and kissing and carrying on. But then she tells him that she has to move forward if he doesn't believe in God. That she's gonna free him to go find him an atheist woman to be with. So they're walking to the door. You can just tell she really likes this man, and she's really feeling him, because she don't want to let him go in the physical sense, but she's telling him, you gotta go and whatever. So Kwame's like, are you serious? Like, okay, is this just for this afternoon, and you gonna call me tomorrow? But she let him know that it's for good this time, so they hug and they kiss. And I just thought they were such a cute couple. But child, Mercedes, I don't know what you're going to do with yourself. I don't know if there's a man out there that's going to fit all the boxes that you have on your list that you say need to be checked off. Then Gina and Ashley are upstairs, and she asks about Alejandro. And so Ashley says that she wants to let him hit it, but she wants to see what they have, before they introduce sex into the equation. So then Ashley and Alejandro go on a date. And he shows her St. Peter's Church, and I guess it's some tourist attraction where you look through this keyhole and you have this beautiful image of the church off into the distance. So they do that. And that seems to be the only place that they went. I mean, unless I blinked or dozed off or was writing or something and missed where they went to dinner or whatever. Because the next thing I saw was they were standing outside the house, and they were hugging and kissing, and in the street, about to sneak upstairs to go into one of the bedrooms in the house. And I'm like, dang, like he couldn't even take her back to his place. Like, if y'all want to be all doing this kind of stuff, y'all should have gone on back to his place. So then Ashley tries to sneak Alejandro out the house the following morning, but Nikita sees them. And so she wants to believe that there was no sex, or she wants us to believe that there was no sex, that they just laid in the bed and talked all night. But I'm like, whatever, Ashley, we're going to roll with you. Maybe there was no sex since there was cameras around. And so if the cameras hadn't been there, you would have let him hit it. So Alejandro shows up that night, later on that night, to take Ashley on a date, and she already talking about, she's in love. And I'm thinking, lust, not sure about love, Ashley, because you are just horny. Like, all the women at some point was just acting like they were so horny. And we had the same thing going on Real Housewives of Atlanta, where, like, this seems to be the season of sex, because we got Cynthia, who's trying to make out with all the women, trying to have an experience with Candy, and then on Married to Medicine, like, none of the couples seem to be having sex. So that's been like a focal point on their season as well. So after Ashley and Alejandro went on their date, they were back at the house, and they're making out, and he's telling her that he has told his mom about her. So he shows her this picture, and the lady in the picture looked a lot like Ashley. So I don't know if Alejandro is running game or whatever, but that seemed to impress Ashley, that she resembled his mom, because every man wants to marry his mama, right? So that made her feel good. So they end up back in the bedroom again. Okay. So then the next day, Diane shows up, and I'm getting the days out of order because I'm actually talking about the ladies individually, so it may seem kind of confusing. So Diane shows up one morning to take the ladies to a VIP beach party because it's opening day for the beach. And I'm thinking, what a horrible way to live where there's seasons where you can go to the beach. Like the beach ain't open year round. You know, I'm a Florida girl and we surrounded by beautiful beaches that's 24/7, 365 days a year. So I wasn't understanding that. I couldn't even imagine like only being able to go to the beach during certain months of the year. That was just driving me crazy. So anyway, they're in the van headed to the beach when Ashley shares her night with Alejandro with the group and just, you know, being all giddy and just she done found the love of her life and Diane ain't had nothing to do with it. So we're going to see how that works out. The beach that they go to is really nice and they have like these cabanas and everything set up, you know, for the private parties. And so Diane is disappointed to learn that Mercedes ended it with Kwame. We were all disappointed, Diane, so don't feel bad. You know, but she said she won't be setting Mercedes up with anyone new just yet because she needs to get her mind right and figure out exactly what it is that she wants. So Mercedes is questioning her decision, you know, but all the while checking out some guys on the beach. You know, she was like, maybe I was too hasty in getting rid of Kwame. You know, maybe I need to call him, know I'm going to stand firm. And so then she goes sashaying past the guys. So then they get to critiquing the guys about the Speedos and what they're wearing and is that really their hair and all this stuff. So, you know, her and Shay being silly. So then Diane has a new man for Nikita. His name was Alberto. So Alberto was a little fluffy. You know, but right off the bat, you know, he shows that he had no boundaries because he done rolled up on his motorcycle. And then when he came over and sat down next to Nikita, he gonna put his dirty feet up on the chaise lounge thing that she was laying on. And so Nikita was looking at him like, what the hell? And we was looking at him like that too. And I'm just like, who wants to see your feet and your dirty feet at that? You know, but they, Nikita, you know, she softened up and gave him a shot, and she ended up having a really nice time. So Alberto is a broker who sells like restaurants and different type of businesses, and he's divorced like Nikita is. And so after talking to him, Nikita said that he came in dressed like a hobo, but he still had swag. And so the two of them are making plans for him to take her on a tour of the city on his motorbike. I don't know how this is gonna work out. And so then Nikita lets Diane know that, you know, she's happy and open to the possibilities of where they can go. So child, Nikita came down that night looking all sexy with her little black dress on, and I'm just sitting there saying, didn't that man say he was taking you on a motorcycle ride? Like, why did you get that little tight, short dress on? And so, but she made it work and got her butt up on that motorcycle talking about, she was more concerned about her hair. She said that she had $100 bundles in her head. And I hate so much when women, first of all, when you're talking about you have $100 bundles in your hair, that should just make you stop and think about how ridiculous you are. And I know I was watching a video where these college students had created this Uber service to deliver hair bundles to clients. So like if you take your I guess your previous weave out and you don't want to be seen in public, you know, before you go buy the new weave, you can order it and they'll deliver it to you. College students, mind you. So the girl who was behind the idea said that she had to come up with a way to make money because her weave cost $800. And I'm sitting there thinking, now you a college student and you taking your financial aid to pay for hair weave. Do you know how much interest you're going to be paying on them student loans on that $800 bundle of weed? So yeah, you need to come up with some ideas on how to make some money. And so I just think that the more women talk about the hundreds of dollars that they're paying for that hair, should just make them think like, and then when people, I could just do a whole video on how wasteful we are with our resources and our money, considering I have a 25-year-old in my house that do stuff like that. But I wanted to share with you guys that Nikita reminded me so much of myself when she was getting on that motorcycle, because I used to date this guy who he moved to Houston and he used to ride this Kawasaki Ninja motorcycle. If you guys know, that's that one where you be all bearing down like this. So he moved to Houston and he only had that motorcycle as his mode of transportation. So he had asked me to come out there, and one day we'll do a video called tell us about your first flight on the airplane. So I'll skip over that part and I'll come back and do a separate video telling y'all about this incident. But anyway, he had this motorcycle. That's how we had to get around in Houston. And I had never been on a motorcycle before, because when he lived here in St. Pete, he also had a truck. So we used to go around in the truck all the time. Anyway, I said, well, how do I get on the motorcycle? So then he said, stand up on the little bar thing and then just bring your leg around. So if you saw the show, you saw how Nikita was like standing straight up on that bar and then coming around on that motorcycle and then sitting down. Well, that's what I was doing. And then finally, after about the third or fourth stop we made, he said, babe, I was just joking with you. You don't have to stand all the way up to get on the motorcycle. Just put your foot there and lift yourself around, lift your leg around to get on the motorcycle. I felt so stupid in that moment. So when I was watching her get on and off that bicycle, I thought about that. My first trip to Houston. So anyway, Nikita, that ain't how you get on the motorcycle. So Alberto says that he loves Nikita's hair, after she was trying to spruce it all up and everything in the mirror, when she got off the motorcycle. And I'm sitting there saying, I wonder if he thinks that's her real hair and what's going to happen, when they get all romantic and everything and he gets started. Because, it's only a matter of time before they want to start running their fingers through your hair. So he had rented out this rooftop restaurant for them, and to have dinner. So they were the only ones up there. And so they're drinking and talking and, having dinner and everything. And then he had like a fireworks show. And I just thought it was like a really nice romantic date that she went out on. And they seemed to be getting along. And he tells her, he has a dog, which would have been a turn off for me. And then the Joker pulled out a cigarette or something and started smoking. So that would have been the end of the day, definitely for me, because I don't do smokers. But Nikita says that she's having a good time, and she's having the time of her life. And like I said, they went to kissing and rubbing and touching and everything. And I just think it's so funny that the most insecure guest on the show is the one that's having the most fun and the most fulfilling relationship. That's how it goes sometimes. So at the end of the day, she says she's happy and she's glad that she didn't judge a book by its cover, because if she had, she would have left Alberto on that beach. So back to the scene at the beach. Claudio shows up, and him and Gina are talking, and she's rubbing lotion on her arm and everything. So he takes it and starts rubbing her back and giving her a massage, and she had to fight the urge to not to tell him to take his hands off of her, that she didn't like that. Like, you could just feel her body tense up when he went to touch her. And I'm like, Gina, what is that all about? But, Gina, I mean, she's so boring. What can you say about it? And then she had nerve start talking about sex. And I'm like, girl, bye. Like, why are y'all even talking about you want to have sex with this man or they want to have sex with that man when y'all only been there about a week? Y'all screwing like that. I'm sure they were only there, maybe 2 weeks at the most. So y'all should have been talking about having sex with nobody. So then we go over to Shay. So Shay is turned up, and this is a scene at the beach, and Diane is looking at her, and she's just like really concerned about her. So she goes over, and asks Shay what's up with Emilio, why he didn't go to the beach, because each one of the ladies was supposed to invite somebody to meet them there. And so she lets her know that Emilio had something to do, but they're supposed to go to dinner that night. So Diane, confesses that she met up with Roberto to talk about, what happened between him and Shay, and that Roberto said that he ended things because Shay was too bossy and she can't handle her liquor, and that he suggests that Shay stop drinking. So Diane agreed that Shay needs to step away from the alcohol. So Shay says that it's not the first time, that she's lost a guy, because of her alcohol consumption. And she says that she's prayed about her alcoholism, but it runs in her family. So Diane tells her that that's even more of a reason to deal with the issue, because you got to get a handle on this situation, because you're always talking about how you want to be a better example for your daughter. You don't want your daughter to follow in your footsteps, but if you can't control your alcohol and she's watching you, then she eventually is going to start drinking and behaving the same way, that her mom is behaving. So Shay was like, she understands that, and then we have seen where she runs out into the water, and I guess she was baptizing herself out there in the beach, because that's what Michael said. Michael said he was looking at that, was like, well, what is she baptizing herself out there? And so Shay, when she came up out that water, she had that alcoholic's belly. Because if you ever seen a person, especially a woman that drinks a lot, like women already have belly fat going on that they have to deal with, but a woman who drinks a lot, her belly just has this unique shape to it, and Shay had that belly thing going on, so she really needs to watch herself. So that night, Shay and Emilio meet up, and she has to decide, whether or not she's going to drink. But she was holding fast, saying that, she wasn't going to drink anything. And he had taken her to this restaurant of some chef guy that he knew. So, he was ordering the food, and I was sitting there like they was eating at the same bowl. Y'all know I'm just like, really, when it just come to just meeting a person, it's just some, we just ain't gonna be exchanging too many germs and bodily fluids and all this stuff going on. But Shay said the food was good and she was enjoying Emilio's company. So I guess at the end of the day, that was all that really mattered. And what else happened? So then after they eat dinner and everything is going good, then Shay tell the man to send her a dick pic. And I'm just like, really? Grown women? This is what's wrong with the world and the whole dating scene right now. It's like, y'all just doing too much. Just too much too soon. And so, he was looking all awkward and everything, but, he's trying to appease Shay. So he told Shay he'll think about it, he'll send her a pic. And then she was like, yeah, send me a pic down there, or that, or your backside and everything. I was just like, if I was out on a date with a man and he asked me to send him a coochie pic, we would not be going out on a date. We probably wouldn't even finish our meal if you came at me like that. But Shay seems to think it's okay. So she returns to the house and she's on cloud 9, and she's bouncing all around. And I think that was the night that Ashley and Alejandro had gone on their date as well. And so Shay goes out and she's talking to them and acting like she has some sense. And Ashley points out the fact that she's acting like she has some sense. And then she went in and was talking to somebody else that was up that night. So she seems to really be feeling Emilio. So I'm happy for her. So the following day, Diane meets with Micah and Cece. And so Cece comes in and says that she needs a drink. And so Diane said, well, what's going on? And she said, child, I just found out that Mercedes been lying to us all the time, that she got some guy over here that she been hanging out with and going out with. And I just can't wait till next week to find out if Miss Mercedes done brought her a man from the U.S. on this trip with them, or if it's somebody that they met on the trip. So next week is the finale, guys. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Leave your comments below, rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later.